Good evening, cheeseheads, and welcome to the Caller's Cave. Tonight I'm joined by an illustrious guest, all the way from London, um, the General Francis Parker. General Franco, how are you this evening?
Yes, I'm good, Mr. Owen Coleshaw. I'm very well.
That's all right. That's all right. I'm quite comfortable with my name.
Good
Um,
intro.
Yeah, well, one tries, one tries. And you may have noticed that Franco's resolution looks little bit clearer tonight, a little bit less fuzzy. He's invested in a in a camera. He's not quite sure how to get the best out of it yet, but he's working on it really hard.
Really hard.
Uh, if you're joining us from around the interweb, we'll be taking your questions this evening. We're looking forward to previewing Tottenham's match at the weekend against Crystal Palace. I had great fun on the pod last night. If you haven't already listened, check it out to our weekday show with Brendan. Very interesting result, Antwerp 2-0. But what was interesting really and what stood out was the substitutes he brought on, Franco. We touched on it on the pod. What was your thoughts when he decided to flood it with first teamers?
A bit odd. It did seem like he'd made his mind up about those subs before, the free kick and then the goal. Because I was just so gutted. Vinny's like super passionate celebration about his goal, and then he's like, "Right, you're off. Kane's coming on because you've not been good enough." And I thought Vinny was all right. I thought, apart from the Celso, there was very few players in that game that stood out or could kind of sort of like hold their head up and say I had a decent game. I thought everyone was pretty average, and I thought Vinny was the one player maybe behind the Celso who put in a decent shift and looked all right. So yeah, disappointing, especially because he's not getting any game time in the league. So I think he deserved the 90 minutes, and fair enough. Kane came on, created the goal, and Jose was vindicated. You see his celebration. He's like, we've scored more important goals than that this season. He sat on the bench looking grumpy. So to me, again, his wild celebration was like, there we go. My substitutions have worked. Do not doubt me.
Egotistical maniac. Gone. Yeah, he's on something, isn't he? And Bale had just hit that free kick that was like reminiscent of years gone by. And then in the next kick, he gets subbed. I was a bit gutted, to be honest, because I thought, you never know. You might see a few more.
Yeah, no, it was this.
Problem, Sorry.
It was surprising, but like I said, I think he'd already made his mind up, and Bale hadn't really done much all game, had he? That's the problem. Still not looking like the old player that we got rid of 7 seasons ago. So it's a conundrum because he's used up all of his Europa League group games. He's not really firing, and I can't see many games coming up before Christmas. Maybe it won't be up until like the Stoke game where we get to see Bale again.
Yeah. I must point out tonight, I've got my North London is ours T-shirt on. I thought I would share a bit of that because it is after last weekend's game. And we were correct in the predictions last week, so we'll come on to Crystal Palace shortly. Just go back to Bale. Now, my thoughts on Bale are, because I love the guy, he's apart from the fact that he's Welsh, he's perfect. Sadly, he's not the player we got 7 years ago, but he's still capable of world-class moments. That free kick was absolutely banging in the top corner. The keeper, who HG was slagging off, which was quite amusing, scored an absolute blinding save to keep it out. What do you think? I mean, surely he's worth his weight in gold to have on the bench or in the side just because he can do that at the drop of a hat.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that great a save because if it was, he would have put it over rather than straight into the pass of Vinny. But he did well to get there. It was an interesting goalie. You could see he was, he's their reserve goalie, but he kept them in the game, made quite a few decent saves. But yeah, the free kick was amazing. If you look, it actually nearly goes like nearly twice the height and of the wall and then comes down again. It just, the amount of loop on it was phenomenal. But it was from a long range and he's kind of got that technique, hasn't he? So he's well got that in his locker. But sadly, Caller, we're not going to get the ball put in a stationary position from 30 yards out every single match for him to do that. And he's hit a few free kicks so far, I think, and they've done nothing. Like not even, ones that didn't even reach the goal before. They bounced a few times maybe. So, all right, the first decent free kick he's hit, pleased for him, but don't act like he's been doing that on a regular basis.
You're just not a believer. You've got to believe more. That's what I'd say. Bale's going to come good. He's going to earn his 300 grand a week. 300 grand a week he's getting, sitting on the bench, keeping it warm. What nice work if you could get it. Oh, to be a footballer.
Hope he's getting in some golf.
Well, yeah, he's rumour has it we put a little pitch and putt in at the training ground just to keep him happy. So he re-signed for us. There's lots of good comments coming through already. This one I particularly like, Adam Austin. You both look nothing like what I thought. I know. Adam, much better looking, I'm sure. That's probably true.
We both gave up our careers in high-end modelling to start a podcast, yes. And, cheers, Adam.
And I think it's fair to say both got perfect faces for radio. Right, Crystal Palace. Let's talk Crystal Palace. So playing them at the weekend at their place. I did point out on the pod, their fans are probably the noisiest in the league. I think. Do you not agree? The look on your face says you don't agree.
Well, one end. I've been to Palace a few times, and I've sat my old boss who had a season ticket at Palace, so I've been in there quite a few times. But the opposite ends to the what's it called? She's going to hate me for not knowing
North
this.
Stand, I don't know.
No, it's the whole end or something, isn't it? Can't remember. Anyway, those boards with their flags and all that stuff. Yeah, they're rowdy, they're good, but the rest of them are just fairly normal, and they moan a lot. Very moany fans, from my experience. But yeah, I mean, it's a good place to go and watch a game of football. Palace, it's enjoyable, proper old style, surrounded by terrace housing and all that stuff. And yeah, you get to see an eagle. I like a bird of prey displayed before a match of football. It's always good fun.
Do they actually do that? Do you get the bird of prey out, do they, and fly across?
Bird of prey, cheerleaders. It's like, lots of extra entertainment for when you're then watching a 0-0 Palace draw. So
wow.
You need something to get you going.
With Roy at the helm, what could go wrong? So their form's been patchy. So last 5 games, they've lost 3, won 2, and those 2 wins are pretty spectacular. A 4-1 win against Leeds and a 5-1 win against West Brom, albeit West Brom played that game with 10 men for a large spell. What's your thoughts on Palace? Really up and down side. Talk to me. What do you think? What do you think we're going to do with them? I mean, it's a strange old system. Knowing that they've just scored 5? Do we shut up shop and play on the counter like we have been? I mean, what do we do, and what can we expect from them?
No, we don't. I'm fairly sure that in that game, what was the score before the guy got sent off? I'm pretty sure it was only 1-0 at most. Let me have a look. Yeah, and that was an own goal, wasn't it? Yeah, own goal. Then it was 1-1. Then Pereira got sent off, and then they shipped another 4 goals. But I watched the highlights. That's what I saw. Zaha and Benteke scored 2 goals. It's just like something weird is happening, and when Benteke is getting on the score sheet. But I still think they're overly reliant on Zaha, and I think they're very pedestrian. I think that they move very slowly through the field. I don't think they're sort of a particularly exciting team to watch. And like you say, their form has been absolutely patchy this season. They got done by Chelsea, and if you take that into account, that we're probably of a similar standard, then you've got to hope that we're going to go into this looking to get a win.
Well, let's hope so. And how do you think we're going to set our stall out then? Do you think it's going to be a case of? I mean, this is the $1 million question, though, isn't it? Jose's not conceded a goal in 6 hours in the Premier League. Jose's Tottenham. Not like he's playing goal. What does that look like? What does that look like for us against teams like Palace? I mean, this is a nice break from a really solid run of top-end teams, isn't it? Apart from Arsenal.
It's a bit of respite, I suppose. But I hope we play like we did in the first half against Arsenal, because that was all right. I went in at half-time thinking that was all right. We slowed down a bit towards the end. We sat back deeper. But again, it was an early goal. We don't know how that affected things, how we were looking to play. But that second half, people are going to sound negative, but it sucked the life out of me. I was so bored by the end of it. When you got the ball for 28% of the game, the second half, it was just, I much prefer to watch Spurs with the ball in possession.
Yeah, do you know the reassuring thing is, though, that when I go to the toilet now, I don't panic that I'm going to miss a goal, because if we're 1-0 up or 2-0 up, I know nothing's going to happen. I can quite easily I could go to the bar, go get a beer in the man cave, come back with my snacks, and I know that literally nothing has happened. It's almost akin to going to a baseball game, actually. Nothing much happens there either.
Well, there you go. And we've only conceded 9 this year, haven't we? I think Palace have conceded about 16, I think it is, when I looked earlier. And so just going by that, I looked at the XG as well. Ours is better than us. But the other thing, I need to point this out. It was pointed out to me as well on the Twitter this week.
It's not about XG, is it?
Surprisingly enough, it is about XG. I've been saying this, not regularly, because I know you moan about it all the time. So it doesn't mean anything.
I
But
know. I don't say that. I don't say that. That's not
we
true.
have been outperforming our XG for goals scored, and we've been underperforming or basically conceding less than we should have done according to our XG stats. So you can look at that two ways. Either we're riding our luck in defence, which I think is maybe true a little bit. I think we maybe should have shipped a few more goals than we did. But also in attack, I'm less concerned. It basically means that we've got star players up front in Son and Kane, which is 100% true. The only issue is if they have slight dips of form, and then we're not creating enough good opportunities through the team, and we're taking lots of the opportunities that we get. Now, that's fine. In that system where we play counter-attacking and we have very few opportunities, you can see that I saw some analysis after the Arsenal match that showed like the run that Bergwijn made. I think Seb pointed it out on the pod as well. It's like the movement with him, and then Reguilon's like sprinting at 1,000,000 miles an hour to overlap. We're trying to draw players apart and create these little channels for Son and Kane to get these opportunities. And that's great when it works. But I'll be interested to see how it works at the weekend. After 3 games, essentially playing those tactics, it'll be interesting to see how we shift it against Palace. Because look, the Europa League has been our opportunity to play against lesser teams. And have you been particularly convinced by the football we've played?
The thing is with the Europa League, we're mixing up the side all the time. So
yeah.
I don't think you can really judge it. Look, I look back at Southampton, I look back at Man United, and I go, it's not a problem for us to play expansive football when we want to. The question is whether or not we will want to against a side like Palace, because you know as well as I do, if we're 0-0 at 60 minutes, both managers are probably going to be quite happy. Because they're going to be thinking, yeah, okay, we're in this, we've got a chance to nick it. And 1-0, it doesn't matter. For Jose Mourinho, it doesn't matter if you win 1-0, 3-0, 4-0, 5-0. He just wants to win. So he's going to do whatever he thinks is the right thing. The question is, what is the right thing? And it might take a bit more to break down Crystal Palace, because with all due respect to Palace, they're probably not going to come at us that much. So you might see Andy Offie, I don't know.
Yeah, it depends who they play as well. They've got players like Zaha, who are the sort of players that cause us problems because they're quite quick and pacey and skillful. Eze, he's not really had loads of opportunities. He's been slowly brought into the squad this year. But he's been playing the last few games, and I think he at least got an assist.
Yeah,
did he get a goal?
Well, yeah, he picked it up on the pod. I think he got 2 assists. I think, but yeah, he's looked good when he's come in. So I mean, it's an interesting one.
Especially Dyer aging Toby. Yeah, but it just depends what Højbjerg does. That's the thing. You feel much more secure when you've got Højbjerg and Sissoko there, basically tracking back, filling those gaps, stopping these players from even if they get past the defenders or the fullbacks. You've got a feeling that Højbjerg or Sissoko will be there to sort of close the gaps as well. So, yeah, with this Jose team, I'm less concerned about that, I guess. But it also does mean that we're probably going to be playing slightly more defensive. But we've got to be, like I said, more like the first half at Arsenal, where we actually give it a good go and get in their half and have some possession for a change.
Yeah, let's hope so. We've got the players to do it, though, haven't we? That's the thing. You know as well as I do. We've got fantastic attacking players. We could really go out and put on a show. I think if we wanted to, it's just a case of does Jose think that gives us the best chance of winning? And when we went gun ho early on in the season, it didn't necessarily transpire. Look at West Ham.
Well, yeah, but no. The thing is, the West Ham game we had that, it was fine, and then that was a complete fluke. Not a fluke, but do you know what I mean? Like they scored two lucky goals.
I like the word fluke for West Ham.
Well, it was like the goal that came off Sanchez was unfortunate, and then Lanzini's not going to score a goal like that in a long time, is he? So in the dying minutes as well, and I just felt like, apart from that, for the whole run of play, we were much better than them, and we should have easily held on to that lead, but we didn't. But my concern is still like the midfield, isn't it? It's just Dombele. It really relies on Dombele having a really good game, because Sissoko and Højbjerg won't support as much as maybe we need. And then when we played the dream midfield in Europe the other week of Dombele, and Højbjerg, it just was not what we were expecting. It didn't work out as well as we would have hoped. So this is the sort of game where I'd maybe say drop Sissoko and play Lo Celso instead. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think he's going to stick to his tried and tested team that he's played for the last few weeks. And then it's going to rely on people like Reguilon getting in. I mean, who have they got? A right back, Nathaniel Klein. I think he's probably got the makings of him, and Townsend on that wing as well. Yeah, Townsend works hard sometimes, but he's not exactly renowned for it. So I think Reguilon and give him a good game, and then Son getting in there between Kouyaté and Klein. I mean, it could happen. So
sorry, go on.
No, I just look at their team. I don't, they've got Riedwald and MacArthur in centre midfield. You just think they're not exactly the sort of midfielders that are they're not really tricky, skillful players. They're kind of quite similar to Højbjerg and Sissoko in the sense. Yeah, exactly. So they're much more reliant on their, those 4 forward players in Eze, Townsend, Ayew and Zaha. And I think it'll be very similar. Could be quite quite defensive from both sides, both hoping to catch breaks and whatever. But
be interesting to see what the XG is for this one. I'll wait with bated breath. I have no problem with the XG stat. It gives you an indication. It doesn't take into account the quality of your forwards, and if you take a couple of chances, then a couple of outstanding chances, then it's weighted against that. That's my view on it.
Yeah,
doesn't tell you the whole story. It's important. It's a good stat, but you've got to put it in context. Context is important. Few comments. I like this one. Care to put in a few thoughts about Dele Alli?
Well, Yeep Shin, I would say it's not looking good for him. But we've been saying this for absolutely weeks. It's ominous when he gets left out of weekend squads entirely and then is only on the bench for the Europa League, where you think those are the games where he could be played. I really thought that the first half of the game against Antwerp was crying out for him, and a number of the podders, Seb included, was saying that he should be playing. And then he didn't even get picked as one of the subs. So it's just, I don't know. If I was Dele, but I've got a terrible attitude, I'd be like, this. I am out of here.
Oh, he has. Franco's got a terrible attitude. He'd be gone, long gone.
I would not be messing around, like being subbed like that week after week after week. You can't go from being one of the top players in the league. All right, his form has dipped, but it's just an odd way of man management. Do you know what I mean? Like Jose came in, there's all the stuff on the documentary about how Sir Alex Ferguson told Jose he's the one player Alex Ferguson told me to sign. Yeah. And then he comes in and he's like, yeah, you're the type of player I like, and then digs him out in the sort of train. What was it, like a training review session or like match review session where he's just like, you're a fucking lazy trainer. And it's like, it's just not. I just don't see that as the way to handle Dele. I don't know. I just don't. Like, he's not a stupid guy, and I just think I don't know. Maybe deserves a bit more respect. I don't feel like he would. He's that complete Flash Dan type player that just doesn't really care and is just blowing his career away. I think he really does care. I think he is professional. He just likes modelling stupid clothes for Boohoo.com. That's all.
Boohoo.com. Well, he might be modelling things in the French capital by the sound of it before too long. PSG interested in him again today, apparently.
This is the thing. I heard you on the pod saying there's no way he'd leave in January. If PSG were coming in for me and going, yeah, do you want to come and play for us? I'll be like, yes, I'll come and play with you.
We've already established you're belligerent and, slightly stroppy.
I would go and eat some bloody baguettes and some pain au chocolat, and I would play with Neymar.
Yeah. And get on the French catwalk.
I'll go, Jose, watch me now winning the French fucking first division.
To be honest, as long as he doesn't go to another Premier League team, I don't really care what he does, to be fair.
Well, no, that's it. Win-win, isn't it? We always say that. It's just, if you're going to go and cheat on us, then do it with someone foreign.
Do it with a different postcode, yeah. Simon Rylander says, surely we're looking forward to getting the Gooners in the Europa League final. What are the chances with that with the draw, etc.? In the final, I'm not sure, to be honest. I don't think is it in 2 halves, is it? I'm not
as sure. Long as it's not in Azerbaijan.
Yeah, exactly.
We'd have to get 6 modes of transport to get there to go and watch us against Arsenal.
Simon, what I have to say is the caller has something to say, which is, don't ever say that Arsenal are going to get in the Europa League final. They're going to fall on their arse in the last 16, hopefully.
It could well be Man United or someone. No, it's a definite possibility.
I'd be happy with that. I'll take that.
I haven't looked at the odds, but I have a feeling that we were the favourites.
We were favourite.
Feeling and Arsenal were second, I've got a feeling that Man United could either be first, second, or third as well. So it could be the three English clubs all in there. But who would you want? I don't know. It'd be quite interesting. I'd like Rangers. That'd be good. That'd be a good laugh.
Wouldn't it just? I mean, that'd be like having a buy apart from anything else. But yeah, it would be absolutely wonderful. And I know a couple of Rangers fans, so it'd be even sweeter, to be honest.
Yeah. As much as I would love to stuff Arsenal in the final, I still just to lick the tears of crying Arsenal fans. It'd be too nerve wracking. It would, and they'd turn up for that game. Probably get Sideshow Bob scoring a free kick from 40 yards out or something like that.
I always think with European competition, I don't like playing an English club. I don't know why. It was the same in that when we had the run to the Champions League final. I was, when we got City, I thought, oh God, that's it, we're done. And fair play, we got through that. But I really didn't want to play Liverpool in the final, not because they were Liverpool, just because it doesn't feel exotic enough for me. A European final should be a European team.
We played Man City already in that run, hadn't we, as well? So it was But as well, it's just as much as Jose can set a team up to win a single game better than probably any other manager out there. Arteta and Arsenal in the last few years, they keep winning FA Cups and getting to finals, don't they? They're annoying. So I don't want them to get anywhere near it. I'd like them to have a completely uneventful season, knocked out by someone like Ajax in the next round, and then getting knocked out in all the cups, and then finish in the bottom half of the table. That would do me absolutely fine.
But they need to do well enough to keep Arteta at the helm, because what?
Who else are they going to get? If you're going to have a little joke about Arsenal,
I saw this.
Who else are they going to get? Poison chalice.
I saw this. Was it you or HG was saying no one will want that job? Of course, people will want that job. It's for starters, you're going to get paid millions of pounds to coach them, a massive stadium, and the history of the club is, unfortunately for us, pretty good. So I don't think they have any problem finding a manager. I'm quite happy for Arteta to stay as long as possible.
No, I don't even know if he's that terrible. I just think their squad is. You look at the players they've bought and the amount of money they're getting paid. I just don't think they're that good. They've made some bad signings. There's been very little strategy in the signings they've made, from what I can see. And long may it continue. I think it's a bit harsh to blame Arteta. I don't think he's a great manager. But I think that's the problem. Is you needed experience. You didn't need somebody. It wasn't like you had a bright young team of easily influenced players who you could just say, right, this is the way we're going to play. Learn from me. They're all sorts of ages, and I don't know, and they've just got some real dross in there. So I think they need a really big manager to come in there. But again, they're the sixth best team in the league at best. So I can't see many managers wanting to do that unless they were guaranteed to be able to sign a few really top quality players.
Well, time will tell. Tom says North London is ours. It is.
Been ours for ages, mate. I know we haven't won much, but it's been ours for ages. How many seasons have we finished above Arsenal now? It's like
many.
And how often do we lose to them? Very rarely. So the tide has definitely turned on that one.
Adam, I think we've covered that. Can we see Ali starting against Palace? I can't see him in the matchday squad, unfortunately.
No, because Dombele is going to be playing in that position, and I think, like we said, it will be Højbjerg and Sissoko, and it's just Dele will be on the bench at best. You've got to think when Lamela comes back, Lamela was in Jose's plans, so there's another position gone. And the point is that since Lamela's been out, Dele's not featured anyway, so it's just not looking good for him.
What I love about this situation is Dele is one of HG's favourites, and Lamela is one of his least favourites. And Lamela features higher in Jose's master plan of winning the league than Dele does. Hello, Globetrotter, if you're watching, do drop us a comment.
You're just trying to goad him so he comes on here now. That's what it is. You're just right, what can we do to rile HG up? Let's question his authority.
Well, there's no authority greater than Jose's as far as I'm concerned, and he thinks that. So, Dale Daniels says, do you think Skip will be Højbjerg's understudy next season or go back out on loan? I think he probably will be. Franco, what do you think about this? I know HG's been flogging this point like a dead horse on Facebook, that we should recall Skip in January. Do you, for the record, what do you think of the whole Skip thing? Firstly, is he good enough to be Højbjerg's understudy next season? And do you think he should be recalled in January?
Understudy, yeah, quite possibly. It's just whether he'll get enough games or not. And I don't know. I don't really like loaning young players out to other Premier League teams. It seems a bit weird, but he's basically playing at one of the best teams in the Championship, so that's probably a good enough standard. He's at that age where, like, to be playing every single week, he's actually in such a trusted position as that sort of defensive midfield pivot is really impressive. And I know he's been getting loads of Man of the Match awards, but as somebody else pointed out, it is probably because they have a vote on Twitter and loads of Spurs fans jump on board because we're a bit sad like that. I'm originally from that neck of the woods. At least like 80% of my close friends are Norwich fans, and I've been saying to them for weeks and weeks and weeks, like, yeah, don't worry, we'll just send you another player next season. Blah blah blah. Yeah, thanks for sending you a decent player. And none of them are really that sort of positive about it. And they're like, yeah, no, he's a tidy player. Yeah, he's a tidy player. None of them are saying that he's putting up trees or looking amazing. But it's one of those positions where you don't really. That's the thing, isn't it? Like, you only really notice it when you've had terrible players there before, which is probably why, like, Højbjerg coming in, you can see the difference he's made. But I think with Skip, he just kind of breaks up play, does all the dirty work, and is there as a sort of an outlet and a ball back and stuff like that. But I still think he's going to be an upgrade on Winks. But I was having a conversation with Carl de Souza, big up Carl if you're watching, and pointing out, like, the production line of average midfielders that Spurs have created over the last 10 years, all the way back to like Carroll, Livermore, Mason. All right, Mason was a bit better. There's more, and they all kind of like get to a point where they're talked about. They maybe break into the England squad, and then just slowly their career tails off and they disappear into nothingness. And that's probably going to happen to Winks as well, unless he sorts himself out. Because if he wants to leave Spurs, he'll go. No, he's not going to go anywhere better, and then he'll go somewhere worse, and they'll probably get relegated. He's not going to go to Man City. That report was nonsense. He just won't. He's just not good enough. Like, he will probably go to a team. And then they'll be fighting relegation, or they'll get relegated, and he'll play the rest of his career in like the Championship. It's just, we need a player that's actually going to be good for once. And I'm hoping again that it's Skip, but you never know. He might just be another Dean Marnie.
I think Skip's mustard. I think he'll be a good player. But it's, that's just my opinion based on the limited football I've seen him play.
That's the thing. Limited football.
It is. And the reality is he needs a run in the first team to see what he can do. When he's popped up there and then, he's looked exactly as you described, neat and tidy. But he's can he do the job that Højbjerg's done? And Højbjerg's not just a one-trick pony. I think his distribution's pretty good as well. So I think it would be interesting to see what Skip can learn off him. So it could be interesting times ahead.
The other thing is that I know Sissoko is an athlete, and he doesn't look like he's tiring or losing any of his pace or physicality. But Højbjerg and Skip, it just gives another alternative because he's a bit more disciplined. And I think that when you look at like Sissoko and Winks, or you look at Højbjerg and Winks, you're still not really too convinced by those, are you? No, but maybe Skip is, I think he's an upgrade on Winks, and I think that you could probably trust him a bit more in that position, and the midfield would be a bit better. So it's not looking good for Winks, but yeah, Skip will definitely be there and thereabouts next season.
Well, my view on Winks, he's bang average at best. Daniel Harrison says, would really like us to demonstrate we can play positive possession football and boss a game to shut the critics up, but also to show we have an effective plan B. Yeah.
Exactly, Daniel. Shut me up. Stop me from criticising.
I would like that. If someone could shut Franco up, that would be wonderful. I think I hope we play like that. I just don't think we will play like that because I think Jose knows what's going to get the result, and that's more important. But and I also think he doesn't actually give a shit what the critics think whatsoever. At the best of times, he's just like, it's my way. 3 exactly. How's it go? 3.
More than all of them combined. Exactly. No, he doesn't care. He doesn't care. The point I made earlier about him celebrating so wildly on that second goal is it's all about him. It still is. Like, he hasn't changed. I know, like he said at the start when he came to Spurs, I've learned this and that, and he's maybe tempered himself a little bit, but I honestly think number one in Jose's mind is him. 100%. 100%.
Well, it absolutely is.
So and he's got a very strong ego, and I'm sure he's got very strong coping mechanisms for any criticism he gets. So
I can relate.
he won't care.
Can
You can relate, definitely. So no, he won't change things. Even if we win 1-0 at the weekend, he'll still be like, yeah, it's 1-0. We won. It's 3 points. We're still top of the league. That's all that matters. And most Spurs fans, 100%, will go, yeah, fair enough.
They will. Absolutely, they will. Joel Hogan. Hi, Joel. Shout out. We'd love to see a more expansive Spurs against Palace, but if it's not broken, why fix it? And that's where I think exactly Jose is going to come from. Would you, Tom Crocombe says, would yesterday's formation against Antwerp with our regular team work? That's an interesting one. What I'm assuming you're referring to playing 3 centre backs and wing backs. I'd like to see that.
No,
you don't like it.
No,
why?
Because you lose Dombele. That's essentially it, isn't it? You'd have to lose Dombele. And if you don't, you could lose Sissoko and bring Dombele back, but I don't think that would work. It's just no. It ends up no. I just don't like it. I mean, it might work if you played them 3 and then you didn't play Orbia and Sissoko, but otherwise you're playing 3 centre backs, you're playing 2 defensive midfielders, and then you're relying a huge amount on Serge Aurier and Reguilon to bring you anything. You haven't got Dombele in there making anything. So and then you've got Kane, Son, and Bergwijn or something like that. It's
why couldn't you put 2 up top instead?
Yeah, but you're still losing players. Like you're still losing Dombele, aren't you? You must do.
Drop out Bergwijn. Drop Bergwijn, put Ndombele in, play him behind the forwards,
and then the 2 up top. Yeah, but that isn't really what we played though. That's the thing. It might work, but then again, I mean, what defender would you want to put in our team instead of Dombele? You're basically saying let's play Joe Rodon instead of Dombele.
Tom, basically what Franco's saying here is it ain't going to work.
No. I mean, for some games it might. The thing is we have struggled against teams that play 3 at the back, and it is a different system that might get some results. But the thing is, Reguilon would be the one that was playing, and he played and didn't really do a huge amount against Antwerp, did he? And I know Doherty has been average at best so far this season and not really been the attacking force we hoped he would be. But also, Aurier's looked good this season when he's not been asked to get forward as much and when he's basically been disciplined and sitting back most of the time. So I just think, I don't know. I've even forgotten what it looks like when Spurs are going forward and when Aurier's allowed past the halfway line.
It normally ends in a goal conceded when Aurier goes past the halfway line. So yeah, that's why he doesn't do it anymore. C-Dean says, with our average record at Selhurst Park, a draw would be a good result. The $3.90 on offer looks very nice. I guess that's in relation to the odds or something. Average record at Selhurst Park?
Yeah, it's been difficult. I mean, there was I guess when there was that period that we signed the 7 players for Bale's money. I remember that was when I went those 3 or 4 seasons around then, and it was 1-0 every season. We still managed to get results, but it's not been great. And yeah, it's never an easy place to go. I have nightmares about Dan just heading balls out and just being defensively rugged. But yeah, we can't settle for a draw. The thing is, if you want to be in the title race and you're at that end of the table now, every game you've got to demand a victory, and I think Jose will. It's
a cup final every week.
Yeah, I mean, it's not easy, but also without crowds there and stuff like that, it is a relatively intimidating place to go to at one end. And like I said, they are like a miserable bunch. They're it's very jeery and not very cheery, is what I'd say about Palace. Any decision there, they really get on the ref's back and boo players and stuff like that. It's a real nasty place to go, and that can play an influence. And we always seem to play them in winter as well, which is a horrible rainy night. And I've just got a feeling that we need to keep this momentum so badly that a draw is not good enough, and I will be disappointed.
Winter's coming. Daniel Harrison says there's a difference between a sketchy 1-0 wins over West Brom and Burnley, and performances versus Arsenal City. I hope we can boss it versus Palace. I think we've covered that pretty well already. Darren Wilson. Jose has proved for years his style generally comes off in close games against bigger teams, but we have to be more pragmatic against teams who aren't looking to push forward and leave gaps to expose. 2 centre-backs and 2 DMs against a team with 1 up front is overkill. I'd probably agree with that, to be honest. I think I guess it'll be just very interesting what the selection and the way they play on Sunday is. Franco?
No, I mean I just forgot what our result was against them in July when we played them at their place, 1-1. I don't even really remember that game. Do you? It all blended into one. Oh, gone very grainy.
Not grainy.
So no, it's What was the question anyway?
Well, the question was 2 centre-backs and 2 DMs against a team with 1 up front is overkill. So, I suppose, do we mix it up a little bit in terms of selection?
It depends how they play, because they've played 4-4-2 a few times this season. I think they might play Ayew and Zaha up front, and then they've still got potentially Eze and
Benteke
Townsend on the wing, and then Benteke to bring on. So they've got a few attacking options, but I just don't think we should fear any of them. That's the thing. I just don't. Like, Zaha is the one player, and if you frustrate him early on and you put in some challenges, which I'm sure Højbjerg will be doing, just stick Højbjerg on him, get him to put in a few reducers, and then Zaha starts crying, starts moaning at the ref, and that's it. Game over. Then he just gets angry, gets a yellow card himself, and then drops. Like, it's seen it so many times. So that's what I would do.
I mean, I see it every day almost working with you, but Steve Diver. Oh, bless him, Steve. The American, or the most American, non-American looking person I've ever met. Goals scored takes into account the quality of your forwards. Exactly right, Steve. That plays to my point.
Well, he's just repeating what he said. How much have you paid him for that?
Nothing at all. Daniel, you know as well as I do, I haven't got the money to pay off Steve Diver. He's the richest man in the cheese room. Daniel Harrison says...
Takes bribes any left, right and centre, though. I know it's dodgy as he's...
Maybe Daly would be used for FA Cup games versus Marine. I mean, if he doesn't get picked for Marine, then he really has got a problem, surely.
Look, I could probably get picked for Marine, to be fair, and I haven't kicked a football in anger in about 4 years. But no, that's been disrespectful to Marine. But if Daly doesn't get picked for the Marine game, if he's still here, if he's not in Paris...
Strutting it
on the catwalks.
There could be some good photo mock-ups opportunities if he does go to PSG. Darren Wilson, totally agree with Franco Delhi. There you go, Franco. You're not on your own.
Said a lot. Could have been anything. You might just agree that.
And Joel says Delhi wouldn't get in the PSG starting lineup, which I think is probably a fair point, to be honest.
Don't know about that. They've got, I mean, they've got their midfield is quite packed, I suppose. But
he'd be a squad player, but he might at least get on the bench. That'd be a bonus.
Yeah, exactly.
Steve, the only time I get to see Franco is on European away games. How you miss those, mate? This. Where did you last see Steve Diver at an away game? That'd be interesting for viewers.
In Leipzig. Me and Mr. Diver, went and met him in his hotel, and he was drinking a gin called Monkey Shoulder. Heard of that, caller?
I've heard of a whiskey called Monkey Shoulder, not a gin.
Maybe it wasn't. Who knows? All I remember was just going like, "You paying how much for that drink? I'll have a Beck's, thanks. Keep it real." Bunch of ponces. It was lovely, and then we met for breakfast the next day and had bagels.
Oh, that sounds nice. Did you go to the game together or anything?
Well, we walked to the game, but we were in different places. Yeah, so I went there with his gang. We got a taxi together. It was nice. We avoided COVID as much as we could.
He was in the executive box bit, and then you were in the cabinet.
They don't have an executive box in Leipzig, I don't think. Not enough, anyway. So no, he was mucking it with the commoners. But
bless him.
Yeah.
Shout out, Steve.
Mr. Diver he actually got a nice little photo. Apparently, when he was at Spurs last, he got a photo of the Brazilians together. I said, "Why didn't you get a selfie?" Obviously, no, because of COVID. You're not allowed within 5 meters of the players. So just got a photo.
But you could hold it like that and just, have them in the background. Or
Well, with your head massive and them going, all right.
Yeah, that's what I'd do. That's absolute. I'd be all over that. I like this. Joel, he's proper sticking the knife in tonight. Højbjerg is as exciting as Palacios. I'd forgotten about him. Or a non-injured Sandro. Well,
that's what we need from Højbjerg. Is him doing some like kung fu videos in the dressing room. That would be good. Encourage himself with the fans by doing a bit of social media.
Tony Cormack says, evening, good morning, lads. Hi, Tony.
Nick.
And Daniel says, unfortunately, I don't see the golden three of Bale, Son and Kane working in this system. Bale needs to play up top and with minimal tracking back. Thoughts? My thoughts are, I love Bale. But he just doesn't do the hard work that Jose wants and demands.
Hold on, my laptop is about to die.
Okay. I think the reality of it is that until Bale, that's funny. Until Bale can track back and work super hard, he's not going to get in Mourinho's good books. And by the way, that was hilarious watching you run. I can't see it. I can see Bale being an impact sub and playing. If there's an injury to Kane, I think then it becomes a different conversation because there's a good chance he might play centrally as a target man. But obviously, that's what we've got Vinicius for as well. So,
no way.
I don't know. He's an option.
Bale needs a fucking rocket up his arse. If I'm being perfectly honest, like the fact that he's so
Can't
lazy.
Say that about a legend.
You can. Right. I was saying this the other day. You remember Bale when he came back? We had the HP kit with the blue HP circle. Bale came back that summer and was just ripped. He looked like an absolute machine. He had that like quiffy, like wartime haircut, and he just looked absolutely like an absolute beast. And he was just destroying players, like so strong on the ball, really hard to get off. I feel like maybe a few injuries, he'd maybe thought, right, I need to bulk up. He was unstoppable, and he's gone to Spain, and he's just on his like paella diet. He's now all like wafy, and he's got his little like hipster haircut. It's like he looks like he should be working in a coffee shop or something. I just want to get him in the gym, feed him some testosterone, and get him fucking raring for it because he just doesn't seem like he's up for it now.
Send him to Leon Isaacs; he'll sort him out with some good stuff. Yeah,
we need to get Paul Muir giving him some serious cardio and
I thought you were
get him angry.
Yeah. Paul Muir slapping him around the face and chucking cold buckets of water over and go, "Come on."
He's just like Bale. Like he seems like a really nice guy. Like your interviews, he's a good laugh. I bet he'd be, good to have a game of golf with. But he just seriously needs to get angry about something. Somebody needs to find out what makes him angry. Jose needs to like just poke that, just keep antagonising him till he gets angry. It's just mad. You can't you look at him now and you can't imagine him scoring any of the goals that he scored before. Do you know what I mean? Where he's like pacing it down. You can't imagine him taxi from Icon, can you? It's just. He's not the same player. It's so frustrating. Even against
he's not going to be the same player. He's not going to be the same player, is he?
You're saying that with massive hindsight. You were one of the ones, as well as loads of Spurs fans, who were getting super excited about him being a world-class player.
He is.
I was like, he's not.
He is.
He's not. You can't. What has he done that's world-class since he's been at Spurs?
Hit a free kick, top corner.
Right. So your bar for world class is literally Eric Lamela level. Eric Lamela's world class, is he?
Let me tell you, Eric Lamela can't get a free kick on target, let alone near the top corner.
He's done nothing. He's done nothing at Spurs so far. In the last year, he's done virtually nothing, and I'm just getting annoyed with him at the minute. To be honest, he needs to start. He needs to start earning his money.
We have a solution here. Steve thinks if you take his golf away, he'll get very angry.
Well, tell him that the right back's stolen his golf clubs.
Yeah.
Lads, have you seen my golf clubs? Right back's nicked them.
And we have clarification. It was Monkey 47.
There we go.
Not Monkey Shoulder. Like Monkey Shoulder is sort of a cheap bourbon that you can buy in Tesco.
Fucking hell.
Monkey 47. different
Some real
story
IT,
altogether.
some real IT issues tonight.
It's like, you look like having fun though. You're wearing it well, so that's fine.
Good.
And Tony says, "Sorry, Joel, you're wrong." So listen, Franco, we're coming to an end. There's still time for a couple more things. Firstly, the Cheese Room has launched a Patreon service. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, basically, we just want to get some top cheeseheads. We know there's loads of you out there. We get a consistent amount of listeners to our pod now, and we just wanted to give something a little bit more back. So we've got a few people within the pod collective who write really well. Like Dave is a professional writer, Seb is a professional writer, HG isn't, but but he is a very good writer. And so they're all writing articles and stuff, and we just thought, right, we need somewhere to put that. And also, we're going to do some extra pods, some extra content. And also, it's a way for us to kind of listen to our top fans and ask what they want us to do, what they want us to talk about. It's all fun doing these videos and sort of getting some instant live reaction. But yeah, we just kind of wanted to close the group a little bit. And Patreon seems like a decent way of doing it. And also, let's be honest, like running a podcast is not cheap. And we are just like chucking Mr. Jolly's kids' college funds away. So we just wanted to be a bit more sustainable. And also, we want to get some merch made. And I think that there is definitely a demand for it. We've already priced it all up. We've figured it all out. We've done the maths. Like, we're not trying to make loads of money out of this. We don't need loads of patrons. We're not like trying to quit our jobs or anything like that. Like, we don't need to. Like,
not going to happen.
Not going to happen. We've got decent jobs. All we want to do is like a little bit more. We want to grow some more. In order to do that, we just kind of wanted to use Patreon. So if you're interested, £3 a month, which is like literally the price of half a pint of what's the £6 beer at the new stadium?
Oh, one of our own?
No, that's a £5, I think, isn't it? I'm sure it's like the Gamma Ray.
Gamma Ray. Oh yeah, it could be Gamma Ray. Yeah.
Gamma Ray, I think, £6. So for half a pint of Gamma Ray a month, you can sign up. You get. We also got a match day chat, which is exclusive with us. So you get to chat, or you get to listen to all of our nonsense during a match, which is generally quite good fun. And like I said, just a bit more interaction. It's going to grow. We're going to listen to what our top fans think and want and provide that. So it's all about you guys. Get involved. Patreon /The Cheese Room Podcast, or just search for it on Patreon, or go to our Facebook page and there's links there at the top of the page. Get involved, and we'd love to have you on board.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said that better myself. Franco, thanks very much for joining me on this beautiful evening up here. I've just noticed that, quite ironically, the whole way through this, I mean, not to emphasise where I'm from, but it's like subliminal messaging going on from the callers from the north. Yeah, not good, not good. Let's finish with a prediction. Franco, what's your prediction for Palace then? Come on, give us a score.
KG 1-0.
Do you know what? I said 2-1 on the pod, but I can absolutely see a 1-0. I'm going to say... I've got to put this up. Leal says, do we get nudes? Lee, if it makes you sign up, I'm sure something can be arranged with HG in a loincloth, maybe? Yeah,
we might have to do another tier. Slightly more expensive if you want nudes, Lee, but maybe we'll do that, Christmas time or on your birthday. Do that for Patreon subscribers on your birthday. You get a group nude shot.
And Tom says, cheers for the podcast and videos, lads. Pleasure, Tom. Sign up to Patreon. And go on, you Spurs, 2-0 Tottenham. I'm saying 2-1. Franco, great to have you on, mate. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.